I just found out the truth about my girlfriend and I am too scared to go to college anymore. I am a third-year college student. I have been dating this girl for almost a year now. I met her for the first time when I was working on a college essay in between lectures while I was sitting on a bench in the college yard. There were multiple benches, with tables all around the yard, intended for students to use. The college was right next to a small forest of sorts. So I liked the breath of nature I got from there, and liked the city air. The sun was setting when I was doing the assignment. The lamps were turned on at the time. There were enough lamps to light up the whole outdoor area. I was very absorbed in doing this assignment of mine that I did not even notice the girl who sat right next to me, staring at me for some reason. When I looked at her, she smiled at me. I smiled back to her. The first day, we didn't really talk to each other. I was about to say something for her, but could not because of my shyness. So it was soon time for my lecture, so I left. After finishing the lecture at about 10 p.m., I was headed home. She was still sitting on the same bench. She did not have a phone, nor did she have a book or anything of the sort. She seemed to stare at random places. It seemed like she was observing everything that went around her. I did not pay much heed to her because I was in a hurry to get back home. On the next few days, I did not see her at the college. This felt strange, because if we were attending the same college, we would have run into each other at least once in every few days. But we did not. I thought that it was because she had a different major. One day, at sunset as I was with my college friends, I saw her by herself on a bench. I wanted to go up to her and say hi to her, so I did it. It took a lot of courage because I had little to no experience with talking to girls. But to my surprise, we hit it off really well. Despite my shyness and inexperience with talking to girls, she told me that her name was Stella. We shared a few hobbies, interests like writing, for example. I asked Stella what her major was. She told me that she was doing bachelor's in business. So this meant that we had no classes in common. Days passed by and I started developing feelings for her. And she did me. I didn't know that she liked me too at the time. So one day, I decided to confess to her and did it. To my surprise, she confessed that she had feelings for me too. It was my first relationship. We went on coffee dates often and spent time with each other a lot. A few months passed that way, and then things began to change. Of course, because I was such a lover boy, I did not notice it at first. I would get weird glances from my friends whenever they saw me with her. At some point, I even thought that my friends were just making fun of me. Whenever I asked them what was so funny, they'd just brush it off. My friends were not the only ones who acted strange. My GF was acting that way as well. She was such a chatterbox before, but now she was acting like someone who could barely speak. I decided to confront this issue directly and ask her what was wrong. "Hey, what's up?" I asked her curiously. She did not answer me and stayed silent for a while. I wondered if she did not like something I did and itched for an answer. After some attempts, she finally answered. "It's nothing," was what she said, but I didn't believe her, because there was obviously something going on with her. She started distancing herself a bit from me. It got worse to the point where we had this talk where she apologized to me and made up with me. I was so glad that we made up. I met up with her regularly on the bench pretty much every day. On some nights, I don't see her on the benches. I see some sort of a black apparition that disappears as soon as I get close to it. It would slowly fade into the light. I would just write it off as me just seeing things. And then, one day, as I was about to go up to Stella, one of my friends stopped me in my tracks. "Dude, why do you always talk to yourself there? That's weird," my friend asked. I got chills down my spine the moment he said that. And then, I turned to look at Stella. She was staring at me, wide-eyed. Her eyes were too wide to be considered human eyes. It looked like bulging, bug eyes. The minute I saw that, I turned around because I could not bear to look at the scary figure. I was absolutely speechless. So this was why my friends looked at me like I was a crazy person whenever I went to Stella. The whole time I was talking to myself, I felt both embarrassed and extremely scared. I could not focus in class because my mind was too busy thinking about Stella and what to do about the situation. After my classes ended, it was almost midnight. I stayed behind a bit to complete an assignment and soon finished it. As I started my way home, there she was, on one of the college benches. There was Stella, but in her true form. She was covered in wounds, while smiling broadly, from ear to ear. She opened her mouth broadly as I approached closer to her, with her razor-sharp teeth in full view under the light. But I hesitated to go there because she was there. "Come here, you moron," she said with an angry, raspy voice. It sent chills down my spine. Without wasting any second, I quickly ran the opposite direction and went upstairs, since the only exit was past Stella. After I got upstairs, I looked at the bench to see if she was there still. She was gone. I turned around after that, and there she was, right in front of me with the creepiest smile imaginable. I was too shocked to even McVeigh a single muscle in my body. I absolutely froze up. She did not waste any time and grabbed my neck. She was capable of such power that I don't think that even 3 full-grown men can take her on. She then began thrashing me about, and then I was thrown near a fire extinguisher. I quickly took it and got her off guard by throwing it at her. While she was distracted, I ran away as fast as I possibly could and exited the college building. I did not even look back. I heard her raspy voice behind me, screaming and shouting. As soon as I got out of the college yard, however, for some reason, the sound suddenly completely stopped. I went straight home and I couldn't sleep at all that night. I've shared this story with a friend of mine who used to study at this same college. I described the girl to him, and he told me that I was lucky to have escaped her because most ended up disappearing. He told me that most of the guys who met her have disappeared and still never had been found. And upon further searching, I found out that she is a college-bound entity. So, I am too afraid to go to college now, and haven't went to college ever since. That is the only thing I can do to be safe.